arts teachers across the country are up in arms, going into industrial action, protesting what they say is unfair rollout of a remunerations regime that sees science teachers given consideration ahead of the arts teachers. Yesterday, there was a meeting between officials from the Uganda National Teachers Union, UNATU, and the Vice President, retired Major Jessica Alupo. What we know right now is no resolution came out. Negotiations are still underway, so effectively what we have is a deadlock, a stalemate. Joining us for the discussion is the Secretary General of Uganda National Teachers Union, Philbert Baguma, the man in the thick and thin of things. Very welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I do not know what to say, but just give us the idea of where we are right now and what exactly transpired in the meeting yesterday between you and other officials and the Vice President.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to share with the Ugandans and people beyond the borders of Uganda. The industrial action is not only for teachers of arts, it is teachers of primary and then arts in post-primary.
Post-primary.
Yes, yes. It has somehow become science arts. No, it is teachers of primary, then arts in the post-primary.
Yeah.
Post-primary, secondary and tertiary.
That's right. So
yesterday we had, I may say, a cordial meeting with Her Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda. It took us something like 3 hours, and we had enough time to express our grievance in detail, so that they do appreciate. You know, it has been blown out of context. Some people think we are being jealous of our comrades,
science counterparts,
which is not the case. Because we have clearly told the government that, look, pay science teachers what you promised them. But while you are paying what you promised them, get to know and put the school environment into context.
Yes.
Such that we don't do something in good faith and then we end up creating workplace disharmony. Because these are teachers who are teaching in the same environment.
Yes.
These are teachers who trained in the same training institutions. They spent there the same number of years. Their work is to facilitate the teaching learning process. Now, when you get one and you motivate, highly motivate this person, and then the counterpart is highly demotivated, and yet they complement one another, you will end up not getting the results
that you want.
And therefore, the issue is looking at the learner who is at the center of it. What is this learner going to benefit from the whole plan? The plan is a good one, but how do we implement this strategy?
And how have you suggested that it be implemented?
Now, the suggestion is
that you require the same motivation that the science instructors are being afforded.
First of all, the teachers of science have been earning a 30% increment over and above their counterparts since 2012. And it is on record, we are the ones who demanded for it. Because this whole issue of promotion of science and technology started in 2010.
That's right.
But the teaching profession was left out. So in 2011, when we met His Excellency the President, we said, look, these teachers who are in the teaching profession also need to match with others. Because when we talk of public service, we don't need to leave some people out. So we demanded that they should get. And they have been getting it since 2012.
An extra 30%.
Yes.
Way and above their
colleagues.
Counterparts.
Now, the issue now became when they wanted to implement this current one, where the teacher, the counterpart, is going to be left very far by over 300%.
Wow.
Now, this will not make this teacher teach, even if he or she is too religious.
And passionate about teaching.
Psychologically, the teacher will be tortured. You are entering a class and your colleague is getting out. You are in the same staff room, on the same table. You have the same heap of books. But while...
Instruction manuals, yeah.
Yes. So at the end of the day, you will find there is a mismatch.
Okay, thank you very much. You've just clarified one of the critical aspects, perhaps, that have been largely misunderstood, especially in looking at why this particular industrial action episode is rolling out. The meeting between you and the Vice President, you explained that pretty much, and I know the government knew this way before this particular strike was undertaken. What did the Vice President say yesterday in terms of either implementing or even going back and sitting with colleagues in cabinet and the President for that matter to effect or to even give consideration to the grievances that you put forth?
First of all, the Vice President was delegated by His Excellency the President to come and meet us. We met and shared, and there was appreciation of what we are trying to explain. Because if it goes unattended to, if it goes without saying, tomorrow it will bring challenges, and these challenges will affect the learners, will affect the entire teaching process. And we shall be there to be blamed because we saw it coming and we never said. So she appreciated and promised us that she was going to give feedback to His Excellency the President. And we hope we shall get feedback in the soonest possible time, because our interest is to see the learners go back to class. But we don't want the teachers to be forced to go back to class and pretend to be teaching. We want the teachers to have a solution to the issues that were raised, and then willingly go back, ready to compensate even the time they have spent without
So what
teaching.
is the premise of your ultimatum right now? If the Vice President is to go and report to the President so that that feedback is registered and then communicated later in terms of what the President has agreed in light of that new information that perhaps he'll be receiving from the Vice President, what is the premise of the ultimatum? If the President comes out now and addresses those aspects, what are they that you want? For example, do you want government to say, we are attending to the fact that if we've increased the money or remuneration for the science subject instructors, we are doing the same for you, but give us either 6 months or a year. Is that what you want? Or you want the release of money through perhaps a supplementary budget to be effected as soon as possible?
Constitutionally, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, is the Minister of Finance.
Yeah, sure.
And therefore, he has all options available at his table. and we are only saying, you are a father. These are all your children. One child is having food to eat. Another one is yawning and doesn't have what to eat. Right?
Oh, one is eating meat or eating salads, and the other is...
and the other one is
dry cassava.
Is on dry cassava without even water. And therefore, balance the boat. And don't balance the boat by removing from the other plate. That may not solve the problem. Go to your granary, bring for this one also to eat, and then your children become happy and they sing praises to the Father.
Wow.
Yes. That's
now very, very clear. However, there are threats that have been coming through, especially to some teachers who are in far-flung areas of the country. Threats from RDCs, threats from top government officials, including ministers. The other day, the Minister for Education and First Lady, Janet Kataha Museveni, expressed dismay that you had betrayed government, because during the lockdown, government continued to pay salaries for teachers consistently without the teaching or instruction going on. She was taken aback that you did not consider the fact that you got paid while you weren't working. Isn't it about time that perhaps in her view, you look at government with a bit of consideration and then give it time to work on your grievances?
First of all, today, you may look at us as people who don't consider government. But it is not long from today that she will come to understand and realize that we are helping her in execution of her duties. Who did not receive salary during the lockdown as a government employee on payroll? And therefore, if every government employee was earning a salary, it is not fair to say that the teachers are on strike and yet they were being paid during the lockdown.
Perhaps the
we are only talking about fairness.
Fairness.
We do recognize and do love and we know our profession. But while we are executing our professional mandate, we need to see fairness and justice being practiced and done. And then, you know, teaching is different from all other professions. Once you are not psychologically prepared to teach, you can never teach. And therefore, we don't want the learners to be cheated. We want the learners to study. And we can only teach them when we are psychologically prepared to deliver.
What was the Vice President's reaction to the fact that you are concerned about the threat of being fired if you do not toe the line as required by the state?
She actually pronounced herself on it and said those threats must stop, because the threats are only making the bad situation worse. And we cannot get a solution through threats. You can force the horse to go to the river. You can even beat it and it puts the mouth in the river. But you can never force it to sip a drop of water. And therefore, the threats are uncalled for. And those who are making threats do not understand what the teaching profession means.
Now that we have a deadlock and a stalemate, and hopeful that the conversation between the Vice President and the President that we are waiting for will be fruitful.
Yes.
What if it is not?
If it is not, I want us to cross the river when we reach there. Because we are hopeful that His Excellency the President has a feeling for Ugandans. And these are innocent Ugandan children who deserve to be considered, because they already lost close to 2 years during lockdown. We have very little time with a lot to cover. That's why even government came up with an abridged curriculum. And therefore, we have no more time to waste. Let's have solutions to the teacher issues and then have the teachers go back to class. And ready to compensate for the lost time.
And many thanks, Philbert Baguma, the Secretary General of the Uganda National Teachers Union, of course, updating us there on the meeting between him and other officials from the union